guys, Yoongi here, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be a bit of a change of pace from my usual content because I really wanted to take the opportunity to use my little bit of a platform here to raise more awareness for a recent issue that needs it. And that is the horror that has been Jessi's October 2022 Europe Tour. Unlike normal when we make videos talking about the disaster tours and how fans are royally ripped off, which is usually the case, it's not just the fans suffering this time, it's the artist too. And the situation that Jessi has been put in is so disgusting, I couldn't just let this one slide. Before we start, this video is in no way supposed to direct any negativity towards Jessi. If there was a K-pop dictionary, you could put a picture of Jessi right next to the words hard worker and dedicated, because those are all words that I would use to describe her. I do also want to just clarify that Jessi herself has not publicly proclaimed the name of the individual we all know is largely responsible for the lack of organisation that has occurred. I personally think this will be for legal reasons down the line, so completely understandable. There may even be other people who should also be criticised, but we will never fully know the entire situation without hearing it from Jessi and her team herself. So for now, I'll just be pointing the finger mainly at the tour organiser that I'm aware of, especially because Jessi has been referring to one man in particular. I myself am not a news channel or a content farm, that's not what I'm trying to do here. My main goal with this video is to present my audience with the facts and information I could find, explain the situation with a bit more detail and the effect this has had on Jessi and similarly many other artists who have to perform under ridiculous circumstances. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. So we will start from the very beginning. Earlier this summer, Jessica Ho, known professionally to most of us as soloist Jessi, the woman behind hits like Nu Nu Nana and more recently Zoom, announced via Facebook that she would be heading to Europe in October of this year with her Beyond Your Imagination tour. The tour would be making 5 stops in European cities, starting in Berlin, then heading to London, Paris, Oberhausen, and finishing up in Barcelona on the 19th of October. This wasn't going to be Jessi's first European tour. I actually saw her back in 2018 in her London stop of her other European tour, and I can honestly say it was one of the most enjoyable K-pop concerts I have ever attended. She was extremely lovely during the meet and greet and spent hours just chatting with fans during the performance, all while still performing as much music as she could squeeze in between hearts with the audience. I think it's really important to mention that the timing of this concert to begin with was probably less than ideal. Jessi herself has been going through an extremely difficult time in the past year or so. A lot of people who don't follow her probably won't really realise because they always see her working. She never really takes breaks or hiatuses even when she needs them because she is very dedicated to her craft and keeping content out there for her fan base Jebbies. But as a fan of Jessi, I have noticed when she seems to be struggling, especially in her social media posts. I'll try not to focus too much on it because I'm sure it's hard for Jebbies to hear too, but in August 2021, Jessi seemed to lose a close friend of hers who she referred to on social media as somebody called D. She only really missed one filming of the show she was on at the time, Sixth Sense, when this happened, and she took a small holiday to help clean her mind. But aside from that, she carried on working and carried on grinding. She has, on multiple occasions, updated fans from the hospital where she's on an IV drip receiving glucose fluids to help with exhaustion. Now, this is actually quite a common practice for idols. I know somebody is going to tell me that in the comments, but that does not make it okay to need to live like that just to do your day job. Exhaustion is your body's way of telling you to slow down. Jessi's music career has been doing really great the past few comebacks, but this has only added to her pressures when she is working non-stop. She also had quite a rushed comeback earlier in the year when she released Zoom a few months back, and then more recently something happened which I'm sure people are more aware of after seeing it in the press. She left her company, P Nation, and there was a lot of speculation surrounding what she would do next. Will she take a break? Will she stop singing? Will she leave the industry? Jebbies know she's probably not going to stop, and more recently news has come about that she's looking to start her own label, which yes of course will be a lot of pressure. So I will admit, all these things considered, I was actually very surprised when I saw the tour announcement, and from what information I have found online, the tour was meant to actually greet us sooner, but this was not possible due to the pandemic. So I can't imagine the pain Jessi would have had to go through if this concert came during all the difficulties she's been having. Jessi did actually post on social media at the beginning of October after her show in Manila, addressing her condition and explaining how although she has been through so much recently, it's her fans who keep her going. Let's move on to discussing the actual tour and the timeline of events. We'll be discussing multiple dates considering pretty much most of this tour was a disaster in the first half, unfortunately. First night of the tour, 8th of October in Berlin. Social media posts from the tour organizer, don't worry, we'll get onto him later, have confirmed that their journey to Berlin was quite troublesome, but they finally made it. Flying around Europe is still pretty challenging. I've fallen victim to a lot of delays and cancellations recently as the world tries to readjust to post-pandemic life. Jessi was so exhausted after the journey to Berlin that she considered cancelling the show until her mum, who was with her throughout the tour, helped motivate her to carry on. I found a video which I think is conclusive enough to confirm this because Jessi said herself during the Berlin concert, during soundcheck, Jessi also told fans that she would still come back out and finish the show even if she fainted. I cannot find any proof of this exact moment, but all things surrounding the show and how much Jessi loves her fans considered, I really do believe that's something she'd say, especially because this actually did almost nearly happen, but fortunately she managed to leave the stage before it did.
Know that I did it for you guys, okay?
This is night 1 of the tour, guys, only the first show. And all things considered, every social media post I've seen from that night is fans confirming that although they could see Jessi was struggling, she put on the most amazing show and it was worth every penny. Moving on to the 10th of October, Jessi's show in London. And unfortunately this one didn't go any better. Arguably worse, actually. The concert was delayed because Jessi was being seen to by medics because she was losing her voice. And in the sound check you can really hear her struggling. Of course, as a solo artist, if you're losing your voice before a show so early into the tour, that's something that needs to be taken seriously. Although she did consider cancelling, she didn't. Jessi told fans during the show how she really thought she couldn't do this tonight, but her fans gave her the strength to do so.
I kept telling myself I can't do it today. But London, you guys are fucking... Thank you guys so much.
Although the actual concert was amazing and all who attended it said they had an incredible time, there were some issues afterwards surrounding the VIP and VVIP packages, which were not fulfilled. Fans took to social media after the show to complain about how they paid for meet and greet, and this did not happen. Instead, they were kicked out of the venue for its curfew after the show. Apparently the staff were trying to give fans free merchandise, which was something to do with the package, but the venue staff refused to let them take it and said it was illegal, so the ones who were offered the merch still didn't really get anything anyways. Jessi herself has been getting a lot of hate for this happening, and fans have been reaching out to the company in the UK who were organising the UK portion of the tour, Soul Rush, for some clarification. They themselves responded to fans' DMs saying that this was a last-minute decision taken by the tour operator. As of the 19th of October, Soul Rush posted on their Facebook story to apologise to fans for the lack of response regarding what happened to their meet and greet experience, or lack thereof, confirming that they were still awaiting information from the tour operator and they would update fans as soon as they heard something. But it unfortunately seemed at this time they were still in the dark, leaving another set of fans who, yes, enjoyed the concert but were left disappointed after spending a lot of money. On the following day, 11th of October, after the London show, Jessi posted on her Instagram story. I'm not sure what time this was, unfortunately, but she mentions that she was stranded in London and needed to pay her own way to get to Paris for the next show on the following day, 12th of October. When she actually arrived in Paris, she was left stranded outside with no accommodation to go to for the night, and even in that moment she was more concerned about the fact she needed to get to her performance tomorrow. But this man, her words, had left her stranded. Being anywhere in the streets at night is so unsafe, let alone in a location you aren't familiar with, and to have nowhere to go for safety is absolutely terrifying. Fans were all extremely worried for her on social media and were actually doing everything they could to try and help, or at least update each other, to alleviate some of the concerns while Jessi was busy trying to find somewhere to sleep for the night. This is a global celebrity with millions of followers and monthly listens. I can't even believe we're having this conversation. Fortunately, fans were able to alleviate some of the stresses of each other on social media by confirming when Jessi had found somewhere to stay. But when Jessi's car arrived at the venue for the sound check in the actual following day, she seemed very visibly distressed and looking close to tears. Rather than focusing on the actual concert during this Paris date, which of course all the fans said they enjoyed as usual, we will talk more about the situation at hand, straight from the artist's point of view. This date in the tour is what made me decide to create this video, as we actually heard from Jessi herself about the mental trauma she had to go through for this tour so far, and suddenly everything made sense. I will insert some of the video here where Jessi herself explains her current predicament, full credit to the owner whose name is on screen, and obviously a strong language and volume warning, you know how concerts are.
There's this motherfucker who's been ruining my my whole entire fucking Europe tour. I've been stranded outside last night till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my god.
With no fucking hotel, with nothing.
Are you fucking serious?
And at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't get a fucking hotel in Paris. You can't.
No.
Thankfully, my friends flew out from Korea. Helped me get a hotel. I was gonna cancel Paris because I told them I do not want to be on the stage tonight with this, just me being like this. Like this is not who I am. I don't.
We love you so much.
I really hope this motherfucker doesn't have the audacity to be here right
Period.
now.
Fuck this.
Because
Fuck him.
he's seriously ruined. He's ruining my life right now. Me and my mom, we've been stranded. I've been taking public transportation. He took me economy. I had to book my own fucking hotels, my own trains, and I did not complain for anything because at the end of the day, when I see you guys, everything all changes.
We love you.
Last minute, like 2 hours ago maybe, I got ready really fast. All these designer brands sent me all these clothes. So thankful. And they told me, and I realized to myself when I pulled up here, I said, I'm gonna explain the situation, but I was like, I saw you guys winning online, and that shit
So although Jessi hasn't named any names, from this we can gather that her tour organizer has done pretty much everything except organize. Jessi herself says how he is ruining her Europe tour and making her life absolute hell. After her show in London, he seemed to disappear but then reappear in Paris and had left her in London with no means of getting to the next show. But it actually seems that he wasn't really doing much to assist her even when he was there, because she had to organize her own flights, hotels and transport, all out of her own pocket. Under no circumstances should the artist ever have to arrange their own anything on tour, right down to like what they have for lunch. This is what tour management teams and organizers are there for. It's their literal jobs. By the time Jessi got to the venue for Paris, she had barely had any rest, no food, and the tour manager had actually been spotted just chilling in Paris, having a little holiday, eating, as if he isn't literally supposed to be working. I've also seen a tweet from a fan which mentions during the actual show itself, the staff were being so rude and would not let Jessi take pictures with fans, which ultimately led to her crying on stage. I cannot imagine the emotional turmoil she's been through. As if she hasn't been through enough, this must have really hurt so bad when the only reason she'd managed to pull through was to see the fans. It's almost time to talk about the man of the hour, but before we do, I will just quickly address the final two shows of Jessi's tour, and I'm pleased to say these seemed to be much more smooth sailing, so this shouldn't take us too long. On stage at the 16th of October Oberhausen show, I'm so sorry if I butchered that name by the way, Jessi actually told fans that she promised herself she wasn't going to cry today and that she managed to actually get 8 hours of sleep. Everybody was so happy for her considering the amount of stress she's been under, but it's so sad when we have to celebrate an artist getting the bare minimum like a good night's sleep, isn't it? She mentioned that the first thing she did when she woke up, like always, was checked her phone to see if there was going to be any problems today. The fact she is so conditioned to do that now, considering the absolute state the tour has been, is terrible. She shouldn't have to have that worry. That's what the professionals working with her are supposed to be there for. She is literally supposed to show up, perform, meet fans, and go home. But fortunately, there were no more issues to this show date, as far as I've seen online anyways. It went pretty smoothly and everybody had a great time, including Jessi herself, who recently thanked a company on Instagram called Dayback Korea Events, who are based in Germany, for looking after her while she was there. And from what I can see, the final stop of the tour on the 19th of October in Barcelona also seemed to go without fault. I've seen clips online of both Jessi and fans having an amazing time at the show, and not really any discussions of controversy. Jessi even got a chance to meet some of her fans outside the venue after the concert too, something we all know is really important to her. So yes, for the final two shows, thank God all seemed to be good. Please feel free to correct me if you were there and saw otherwise at either of these two shows. I am sorry if I missed anything. I was looking around for ages, but I couldn't really see anything. If you know of any drama that I have not addressed, I'm really sorry, please let me know. Now, although the final two stops of the tour seemed to be a success, this wasn't without the prior stress that both the artist, her team, and her fans had to experience. And just because things all worked out in the end, that doesn't mean that he still shouldn't be held accountable. So that's what I'm here to do. Introducing Tim Kim. Kim Ho-eung, also known as Tim Kim, is a tour organizer within the K-pop industry who unfortunately has a very bad reputation already outside of Jessi's tour and is now heavily involved in this mess too. Fans who have been around in the K-pop scene for a while now will recognize his name because it has caused controversy a few times before. In 2014, there was supposed to be a K-pop festival in Dusseldorf, Germany, titled the K-Culture Festival, or KCF, which of course Tim Kim was involved with the organization of. The lineup for this festival seemed to be insane, by the way, featuring huge names like I-DLE, VIX, and Block B. Oh my god, when I tell you I would have sold my arm to go to a show like this. Thank god I was too young at the time, or else I'd have been a victim of this scam as well. During the build up to the festival, everything seemed pretty legit. Tickets were selling, although expensive. The artist had made videos expressing their excitement, etc. However, barely 2 weeks before the festival was supposed to take place, it was officially cancelled via a post that fans have shared on Facebook, which I believe they received via email, and it was cancelled with very little explanation as to why, other than a bit of a message which insinuated they were simply not ready for it. Fans were promised full refunds, but after a long wait receiving absolutely nothing, fans contacted the organisers and received responses telling them to contact Kim Ho-eung, aka Tim Kim. But he had done a disappearing act. Yes, this seems to be what he's best at. He's very good at organising his own disappearances. And almost nobody actually received their refunds in the end. Apparently Tim Kim has since blamed the company hosting the event for getting away with the money. They blamed him, of course, for getting away with the money, and we will never truly know what happened, it seems. But this isn't exactly a great achievement to have under your belt. Further to this, Tim Kim was also involved in BAP's Forever with Babies 2018 European Tour, which was littered with controversy from the outset and throughout, from really unclear information, dates getting rescheduled, terrible quality meet and greet photos after ridiculously high prices, technical difficulties, etc, etc. Basically everything that could have gone wrong did. And fans were left feeling really unhappy with the overall concert experience, when they should only have great memories. You can still see the posts about BAP's European Tour on Tim's Instagram if you'd like to see evidence of his involvement, but I mean, judging from how it sounded like it went, is it really hard to believe that he was involved? I don't think so. At this moment in time, while I'm making this video, Tim's Instagram is still viewable. It's not privated as of yet, and neither is his Facebook page. But comments on his Instagram are limited, of course, and he hasn't posted since August, it seems. The Facebook posts I mentioned earlier, in which he mentions the struggles of traveling to Berlin and how the first show itself went, have seemingly been deleted. As far as a digital footprint goes, he is currently nowhere to be found. This man disguises himself as a K-pop concert organizer who knows what he's doing, and I do strongly believe he does know what he's doing, because he's smart in the way he does the barest of minimum, and that's why he's managed to get away with acts like this for so long. He shows up, he screws up, and then he disappears. And I don't know if Jessi or her team are planning on taking legal action, if they can, if it's worth the hassle for her considering the cost and the mental stress it would be, but god, I really hope her team at least tries to take action on her behalf. She should get every penny back because she spent her own money on this tour, as well as some sort of compensation for the emotional and financial damage he has forced upon her in general. Thanks to Tim Kim and his lack of organisation skills, Jessi and her mother were left stranded in a country that they are not familiar with, leaving her to find her own way last minute when we all know what a nightmare it is travelling anywhere at the moment. They were left stranded in Paris in the middle of the night when she had a very busy schedule the next day. As somebody who travels for work occasionally, it is not up to the employees to fund their own transport and accommodation for work-related activities. Trust me, I'll keep repeating this until I'm blue in the face. People are acting like Jessi should have just kept quiet and got on with it. But in no real company should you ever be expected to do that. And musicians aren't an exception, no matter how much they wanted to see their fans. Jessi here has unfortunately become a victim of her own kindness on this occasion, because she so desperately wanted to see her fans and really did not want to let them down or cancel the tour, when she would have been well within her rights to do so. And I think that really speaks volumes about the kind of person she is, as well as the kind of artist she is. Her dedication to her craft has always spoken for itself. People have always looked for every excuse to berate her, and it would have been the exact same if she cancelled the tour, let's be honest. Heck, I've even seen people online trying to downplay how unacceptable this situation is, because she's a grown woman who can book her own flights. Yes, of course she is. We're all aware of that, but she shouldn't have to. I'm really, truly glad that the last couple of dates of the concert were a bit more smooth sailing, but I'm very sad for her that she's going to have these negative memories and connotations of the first half of the tour, when it should be a really happy memory of finally getting to see her fans after a long, horrible pandemic. And the fans who missed out on their meet and greet or had a terrible time or were worried for her will also have that same a memory. Me making this video isn't gonna get him to change his behavior. He's not gonna see this, and it's not gonna change anything that happened. But I thought at the very least, we could raise some awareness to the issue and a con man just cutting about the K-pop industry and still getting away with this time and time again. And I also wanted to raise some awareness to what Jessi has had to go through so people can put some respect on her name for going through it. I very rarely see people saying positive things about Jessi outside of the Jebby community, and that's sad to me. People are gonna say, well, she didn't have to go through with the tour, but she has so much love and respect for her fans that she decided to go through all this stress anyway. I'm really proud of her for getting through it and for her fans for sticking by her side throughout the whole process. Let's hope the industry finds some sort of way to stop people like Tim Kim getting away with this behaviour. I will be honest, I don't see anything changing in the near future or anything, but the more of us that are aware of this sort of thing and are speaking up about it, I'm hoping that someday it will actually make some sort of difference. I don't know how, but all I'm gonna do is keep my fingers crossed. Okay guys, and that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. Again, I'm sorry the tone's a bit different to my usual content, but I really wanted to do this sort of thing. So I don't know, let me know if you'd like to hear me speaking up about issues in future or if you'd rather me just keep my mouth shut. If you did enjoy this video or found it informative, please give it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you attended any of these shows, I would really love to hear from you and about your experience. If you are new here and have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. That should let you be the first to hear whenever I upload. And as always, my social medias will be on screen. That is my Twitter and my Instagram. I always follow back fellow K-pop stans, so let's be friends. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys!